Welcome to our roundup video of our best barn find moments of the last 12 months. Obviously you can watch all these barn find videos on their dedicated playlist in full if you want to, and we'll put that link on the screen and in the description below. But think of this really as a highlight reel, a recap of where I've been and what I've seen wearing my BFF, the barn find fleece, over the last 12 months. I'm Jonny Smith, but the fleece is on, so of course this is a barn find episode of the Late Break Show. I'm Jonny Smith. So, best barn find moments. I mean, I've just been reminded that we've done over 20 this year, 20 in 2023 alone. And of course, we've been doing barn finds now for nearly 4 years. So there's a whole back catalogue beyond 2023 or before 2023 that you're more than welcome to look at. Let's start with most viewed video and most valuable car, almost certainly, that I've done. So this has had 227,500 hours watched time with well over 1 million views. And it is, of course, the Aston Martin DB4 barn find. It's a car that I never thought I'd get a barn find opportunity with. And it was a really special thing to go down to Devon, see this completely patinated car that had been sat indoors for something like 40 years. And the owner, who was an extremely interesting guy, Paddy. But most interesting part of this video was probably the original owner of this car, who sounded like a real-life 007 himself.
Who's ever seen a DB4 with a tow bar on it? He was reversing this into the sea to launch his yacht.
Oh my gosh.
So from here forward, it's fine, but that bit there is shockingly bad. This car was bought in 1959, according to the Aston build sheet that I've got over there, by a gentleman called Captain Lemos. Captain Lemos was a member of the Greek resistance during the war. Somehow he was tied up, I believe, with OSS, which was a pre-runner to the CIA. So Captain Lemos was doing something for the Americans. I don't know what, but when the war ended, the Americans gave him a Liberty ship. This Liberty ship belonged to the Americans, was in the Eastern Mediterranean when the war ended, and for reasons not known to me, they gave him this Liberty ship.
So hang on a minute. In a way, the person that first owned this car was a bit of a spy.
Oh, absolutely.
So a real-life James Bond.
Real-life James Bond.
In an Aston Martin that isn't a DB5. Most heartfelt barn find. Now, barn finds always talk about the backstory of the car, the emotional connection we have with these machines. And they can get really quite emo. The one I want to talk about first of all is Helen Corbett in mid-Wales with her late husband's Porsche 911 SC and Triumph TR6. She was a lovely woman. It was such a beautiful day, amazing landscape where they lived. And her memories of her husband and the way he loved cars and the way they used to go out on road trips and things together, it really was quite a special day. But also, not only that, she was funny. She had an Escort, a yellow Escort RS2000, I think it was, that got stolen by, it turns out, a pimp. And that's why she ended up living in the countryside where she lived.
So one Monday, in late September 1987, went to work in the car, left the office in the evening, went down to get the car, it wasn't there. So we reported it to the police, and a couple of weeks later we had a phone call from West Midlands Police to say, you've got your car. Apparently the police were called to this pub in Brum, don't know where, I can't remember, and my car was there in the car park. There was a kerfuffle. And there was a pimp in my car doing pimp business. And I was furious because that was my car. Anyway, to cut a long story short...
A pimp? Was it a pimp?
A pimp.
Right.
We didn't meet the pimp.
Okay.
I don't know. But it was him that caused us to move. So by Friday the 13th of November, I'd left my job and I'd started in this glorious part of the world.
So you got the RS back?
Yes.
And you and your husband, or husband-to-be, Kevin, came here?
My mother found this place.
Yeah.
And we've been here ever since.
Really?
But it's a good thing to say, I think, to your followers, that in life sometimes bad things happen, like a pimp.
Yeah.
But actually, superb things, when we look back retrospectively, it's been a fabulous experience because we would never have come to this part of the world if it hadn't been for that pimp. So if the pimp is around, whoever you are, Kevin and I, if we were both up, he was here, we would both shake your hands to say thank you, because we've had a fabulous life here on the back of your bad behaviour.
I've got to say, the last thing I was expecting to talk about to you
Was a PIMP.
was a PIMP.
But that's what
morning.
happened. That's the story.
Yeah,
yes.
An RS2000 and a PIMP. Actually, there's two other heartfelt barn find videos I want to talk about that we've done over the last 12 months. And one of those is the AMG Montego Turbo barn find video. John, the chap in Gloucester who owned the car, and numerous other MG Rovers of that era, sadly, he passed away before we got the video out and public. So he never got to see the final edit of the video, but he's in the video and we talked to him that day. And you can tell he really enjoyed the process of us pulling the car out and trying to fire it up with his son. And it was just very, very sad to hear that he never quite made it. He was unwell anyway. But I want to say a massive thank you actually to Matthew Lynch for helping to arrange that video. That one was a very popular video too.
Right,
let's go. Yeah. Oh!
She runs.
That's the first time, is it?
That's the first time it's fired. It's tried to fire,
Did you film that?
Oh, I forgot.
And heartfelt video number 3 really for 2023 has got to be the Mk1 Ford Escort Mexico in Modena Green, that's owned by the Craddock family in Cumbria. It was a really enjoyable day. I loved hearing all the backstory about the car. They've had it from new, every single piece of history, all the correspondence, fastidiously looked after, but yet used as a family car for the first sort of 18 years of its life. That car recently just sold at CCA, Classic Car Auctions, for £36,000 plus fees. And luckily it's gone to a fanatical owner who's going to rejuvenate it and hopefully stay in touch with the family and continue this car's story, because these cars do have stories, right?
And those seats, do you remember in the summer there that if you got into the car and it had been sat in the sun for a while?
Oh my God.
Your legs,
It's
your legs stuck to that.
Nuclear.
Yeah.
When was the last time you both sat together?
Oh, I don't know, but you know what? I was that side, wasn't I? Come on, let's get in the right
were you
side.
always a certain side?
I was
Is that
always
right?
this
Yeah, yeah,
side,
no, I do.
You always behind the driver?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a nice bloom of mildew, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit mouldy in there.
Wow, that is weird after all these years.
Not so bad, but it still has it's got a vinyl smell.
It's
Yeah,
that
I think
smell.
it must be the vinyl.
It's got to be vinyl.
Vinyl riff, the
Yeah.
vinyl seats, the vinyl.
It's the smell of our, young summers and, Cornwall trips and all, yeah.
Barn find with epic location. We've had a few of these, but probably the one that takes the biscuit for 2023 is the one that's set in a stately home, because nothing says Great Britain like a glorious, sprawling, stately home. Plus the car was glamorous. Lamborghini Espada, connected to Grace Jones, also connected to Guy Fawkes, set in Ashby St Ledgers at Ashby Manor, where the gunpowder plot was actually cooked up. This was a fantastic day out. It was I remember it was a really warm summer's day. I drove there in the Dodge Charger because it wasn't that far away from where I lived. I hooked in my friend Matt Walton, who came along in his pre-war Bentley with a load of tools. We got the car running. We got it driving around the yard with a can of Hope on my lap. Honestly, it was just a right old hoot. That's got to be the most epic location for a barn find this year. We've got a bit of space in front of the stately home, and we think we're going to take it for a quick drive. I will be in the passenger seat with the can of Hope and the battery, so I'll be the fuel system.
Safety first.
David will be driving it with the centre console hinged out the way. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Did you say safety doesn't take a day off? Go around the Bentley. One of the big question marks on every barn find is, will it start? Can we get the car started? Do I succeed? Do I fail? We don't really know what state the car is in when we turn up. I think the easiest startup has got to be the orange BMW E9 CS of Gore, a chap in South Wales. Really beautiful day. We filmed this right next to the coast, and Gore had such an amazing story of this relationship he had with the car that he's owned since the mid-80s. Gore's colourful stories, in combination with the fact that Tony BMW, a chap who we've used before, had a guest on the channel getting BMWs fired up successfully. He came along and the car just fired up. We've connected the can of Hope up. We've just given a quick squirt of lube to the throttle linkages, and they're all really nice and smooth. So we think we are ready now to turn it over and see if it will fire up. Yeah, right. You can hear the fuel pump and the can of Hope's on. Ignition's on. Are we ready to fire?
Yeah, go for it.
No way! No way! No way! That's so impressive.
Nice.
Oh, it smells beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go on, Tony.
Cannot believe that. Can of Hope. Well,
Just getting a bit smoky.
turn that off. Shiver me timbers. The other great piece of news I've got to share about Gore's E9 is the fact that Yorkshire Car Restorations, they've got their own YouTube channel, I'll put it above my head. They watched the video and they got in touch with me to say, we would love to resurrect Gore's E9 for him and document it on our channel. And I'm going to be doing an update on that car. And a lot of people ask, can we have barn find follow-ups? Well, this one is going to be followed up using Yorkshire Car Restorations, and I'm so glad that the car's already there now being stripped down. And I was the one that made the phone call to Gore to say, hey, Yorkshire Car Restorations want to get your car on the road and they want to do it for you, FOC. How cool is that? Probably the most challenging startup on a barn find this year. It's got to be the AMG Hammer wide body Mercedes. That car was so cool. In fact, it was off the back of a car cave. It was an accidental barn find. We went there to film the car cave collection of 80s Mercs, and we ended up seeing this wide body AMG that hadn't run in 20 years and thinking, we can't let up on this. And we worked late into the night. It was a really long shoot and it was cold, but we finally got this V8 to fire up. And bloody hell, A, it woke the dead and nearly blew the shed down that it was in, and B, I've never inhaled so much petrol particles and hydrocarbons in my life. I was properly dizzy afterwards. That's not recommended. I don't think that's a good idea, but it was a really satisfying ending to that shoot. Running! I'm so hungry and tired. Yeah? Listen to that. Smooth idle.
Jesus.
My eyes are hurting. I can't stop this. Do you want to kill it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Round of applause for the Hammer.
There we go. There we go.
I hate giving up. I stink, I need a wee, I've not drunk much, I've not eaten any dinner, but I call that...
a win. Jeez.
I call that a win. Rarest barn find. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have stumbled across and filmed some rare cars this year. And in previous years, but I'd say the rarest is probably the Bristol. I've done 2 Bristols this year, but the Bristol 408 is a seriously rare car. There's less than 10 left on the road, I believe. They only made 83 in total over 3 years back in the day, and we managed to get this car to fire up. It has Chrysler V8 drivetrain, so the engine is probably quite a simple beast, really. And it was a beautiful day again. We were lucky with the weather that time. Hot summer's day. I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the story of that car, and I can tell you now that that car has already started its rejuvenation, its resurrection process with the son-in-law. So I'm really glad, again, that car isn't still sitting there.
Okay, ignition on, cranking over.
sounds all right. That sounds all right.
Dynamo is making some pretty aggressive
I can see that. The dynamo is sparking on the back. Yeah, that sounds all right. Listen to that. That's lovely.
Yes, it is actually.
That is really lovely. Sound nice?
Sorry?
Does it sound nice?
It sounds great actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything you fall in love with over whatever.
This is what you fell in love with 40 years ago.
Yeah, I did.
So that's Rarest. Let's talk about barnfind collaborations. I've collaborated a few times this year, but the main one, the one with Freddie Tavares, actually was a complete accident. We ended up doing a brown chair idle chat with Freddie, and on the same day, he said to me, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "I'm actually doing a barnfind Aston Martin tomorrow." And he said, "Oh, I've got a spare day. I don't have to fly back for a few days. Can I come? Do you mind if I come with you?" So he tagged along to the barnfind, and we ended up having a fantastic day. Beautiful garage, amazing Aston car. The garden was wonderful. It was warm weather. Freddie enjoyed doing the washing and the tinkering under the bonnet. It was just a fantastic day. I thoroughly enjoyed that. We're at an exciting crossroads.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I know you're excited.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Freddie's just boiled a kettle and got this fuel line over the Aston's fuel line. We're now attached to the can of Hope through this convenient gill in the inner wing.
It's really like they knew that from the factory.
They knew that this was going to do this. We got the can of Hope hooked up with the fuel pump, so we're bypassing all the original fuel system just in case. We've primed it, plugs are back in. We know we have a spark. We know we have a healthy battery. So I'm gonna say there's a high chance we could get it to fire.
Okay, don't say that because that's gonna mess up this whole operation.
Carbs, you've primed it a couple of times. Fuel pump is on.
Yep.
Whoa.
On the button.
That was really fast.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right.
That's positive. The other collaboration I did was with my big brother, Greg. I say big brother, he's my only brother. And we did a triple barn find, and I needed another pair of hands because we had 3 cars that we were going to go and see on a sort of semi-abandoned farm in Cumbria. And I thoroughly enjoyed that day. The weather was hard, the scenery was amazing, and 3 completely different cars, a 2CV, a Rover P5B, my brother used to have one of those, and a Beetle, obviously a car that's close to my heart. We got one of the 3 cars running. Yeah. And my brother got it to run really nicely, actually. But I really enjoyed that. Would you like to see Greg on the channel more? I think I've brought him around to the idea that he is okay on camera and he shouldn't fear it so much. Let me know in the comments. Oh.
Sounds really sweet, doesn't it?
Sounds really sweet.
You switch that on a bit to give it some more petrol.
Just giving it a quick.
Yeah. There we are, that's off choke now.
Already?
Yeah.
That's really quiet.
It is, isn't it?
Exhaust system's obviously not fallen off.
What a cool thing.
Yeah, that is cool. That's him happy. Look at the face, that's him happy.
That's what you get, that's as much as you get. Right, let's come off completely off fast idle now.
And obviously I've just talked about Tony BMW being synonymous with the BMW barn finds that we do, bringing him along to doing the E9 BMW CS with Gore. That was nothing but a joy. And he invented the Tony BMW Can of Hope, which I bring on so many shoots for the barn finds, and they've got dozens of cars running now. It's been great. So that's always a collaboration I've enjoyed doing. Tony is such a patient guy. He's really, really calm, and he always gets a car fired up. He's great. Thanks, Tony. So we've reattached the can of hope outside. Tony's in the driving seat. We're going to strike it up. We know the brakes are seized, but we don't know how seized. We'll put it into drive and we'll see if it drives out. But then we need to try and stop it. Have you got any pedal?
There is a bit of pressure on the pedal, yeah. And I think the handbrake might work, so.
Cannot believe this. It's on the button. I cannot believe this. Is the brakes working? They're not, no. Oh, and another collab that I forgot about was, I think it was the first barn find of 2023, the Citroen 2CV that had been owned since new by the same chap. And I called along Darren Arthur from the 2CV shop, who's obviously Mr. 2CV, and we ended up fettling it out in the back garden, and we got that car to fire up. And I loved uncovering that. It was covered in stuff. It was actually a really well preserved 2CV, considering they're made of such thin metal. That was a good one, I enjoyed that. That's probably had the least amount of views out of all our barn finds, which is a shame really, because I really enjoyed filming that. Right, will it, won't it? Place your bets. Yes. Good, that's the spirit, John. Oh. Yeah.
There she goes.
Wow.
Yeah, she sounds sweet.
Just let it settle, I reckon.
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah. It's going to run out of fuel in a minute. That sounds lovely. There you go. Bit of smoke, that'll be the oil that we put down it. That sounds really nice.
Yeah, it does sound sweet, doesn't it?
Which has been my favourite barn find. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to say, really. There's been loads. The recent Mini, Mark 1 Mini that I did, I really enjoyed that film day. I enjoyed again, it's the stories of the family and the previous owners that probably make it special for me. I do love a dusty old car, and of course it badged as the Mini Minor.
Yeah.
This car, how long has it lived right here?
Oh, it's lived in the garage, as I say, from about the mid-90s, and it was pushed out once just to move it to one side so we could get better access, and that was around, again, think about 2004, something like that.
So nearly 20 years ago.
Nearly 20 years,
when it was pushed,
yeah.
But not fired up.
It's not fired up for 30 years, we don't think.
Right, okay, really? Right.
You just tell me when, Johnny?
Yeah, so if it's out of gear.
Yeah, out of gear.
Choke's on. Give it a little bit of throttle as you turn it on the button.
Ignition on.
Ignition's on, and then the button on the floor.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Starting.
Yeah. Bit of throttle. Yeah. Well, that tried.
Yeah.
That's a good start. Silly moments, silly barn find moments. You see, the thing about barn finds is the shoots can go on for a long time. They're quite demanding on energy. You don't know the problems you're going to have to encounter. You don't know whether the car's going to ever beat you or not. So there's a lot of variables. So we tend to be a bit silly just to keep morale up. One of the things I must mention is the Mark 1 Cortina video I did, which has now had, I think, over 1 million views. We actually found some ladies' knickknacks under the driver's seat. Is that a pair of underwear? That's a pair of knickers. Oh man, don't know how I feel about that. The Mitsubishi Sapporo Coupe, I really enjoyed that barn find video. Such a cool car. And again, the guy had had it for such a long time, but probably the silliest moment was we found a cassette in it and we decided to play it out of curiosity, and it sounded a bit weird. What were you playing on that?
Probably soul music.
Was it?
Yeah.
We can't play, or maybe we can play it.
You can try it.
That way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It works.
dodgy, but it still works.
That's so dodgy. Nice. It still plays. Phil, the videographer, he enjoys a montage, don't we all? There was a montage involving my ongoing relationship with analog foot pumps rather than using electric compressors, and the Mark 1 Mini barn find. That all came to a bit of a head. It's definitely leg day. Mark III Cortina 2000D, a special SVO ordered black car. On that barn find, I found some weird stuff in the garage, and I think I found a doll's head. What was that? Yeah. Great point. 3 things you need to do. Like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Oh yeah, well you could buy some merchandise. What a great idea, we have a merch shop. I'll put a link in the description. Genius. You're clever. The Aston barn find with Tavares, we were having a bit of a giggle most of the day. And we did a car cleaning bit, and let's just say we called it 2 hands, 1 glove. So wrong. This is so stupid. So those are my favourite moments really of the 2023 barn finds, of which there's over 20 of them. Question is, what were your favourite barn finds? What were your favourite moments? I'd love you to put that in the comments below, and maybe you want to share your favourite barn finds on social media like Instagram and Twitter. You'll find the Late Break Show on there. Tag us in and we can restory that and retweet it at will. I always say this at the end of every barn find. If you know of a car of interest that's in a barn, on a driveway, in a garage, under a hedge, whatever, and you want me to come and look at it, send us an email. There's an email address in the description. Send us some pictures, give us a location, give us a backstory, and hopefully we'll come and find one and dig it out. There's still so many to do. We get a lot, and I want to thank you all for that. And secondly, obviously, we've been doing these barn finds for 4 years now. Which is your favourite overall barn find? I've been doing them for a while now. I don't honestly know which is my favourite, but there's loads in the back catalogue. Thank you. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much if you haven't already subscribed to The Late Break Show. I'd love you to subscribe. I'm sitting in a barn here, but it's full of grain, and really it shouldn't be. It should be full of my cars. You could fit loads of cars in here, couldn't you? Thanks for watching.